Alright lads, for this next step I wanted to have an inventory working and some items done to play with. My initial idea was to keep it simple and move on by having just a single slot based inventory. However, as a Diablo and ARPG fan that I am, I started thinking about making a grid based one. It is more difficult and time consuming, but I think it adds more value to each item by giving it its own space and being bigger instead of just being slot buttons. The solo dev struggle. Okay, I should move on, just make it easy. But it would be cooler to make it grid based, like Diablo and shit. No, you still have a long way to go. They are just items, just a tool for the game. But it would be cooler to make it grid based with big items, with different sizes and shit, isn't it? No, just focus on the game, that's not totally necessary. But it would be cooler to make it grid based, like in Path of Exile and Diablo and Green Day, like having many
Okay,
items with different
so
choices.
I made a pact with myself. If I could get the basics of the grid working in 2 days maximum, I would use it, but if I got stuck, I wouldn't waste any more time. I would just delete the branch and stick to a slot based one. Fortunately, I had made grid inventories before in C++ and Unreal, and a couple ones in Godot, so I more or less knew how to get all of this working, and yeah, I got it done in less than 2 days. Cool. Item placing, slot checking, item swapping went smoothly, and everything was pretty solid, apparently. Then it came the development curve from hell. As with every feature, so easy and quick to implement, and a nightmare to polish and finish. Even more, this specific task is so context dependent with tons of checks to make. Do I have an item grabbed or am I just grabbing it? What size and type is it? Does it fit? What's under the slots? Is this item stackable or am I swapping objects? Am I stacking these items or splitting them? Am I pressing escape so I have to return it? To which bag and which slot, and so on. So this slowly became an if-else check party. However, just a part of this was related to it being a grid-based inventory, and I would have to deal with it in a slot-based one as well, so I was fine with it. Then, why not to complicate it a little bit more and add the ability to rotate the items? Yeah, why not? Let's steep the curve of hell even more. And well, getting the grid functionality working properly wasn't that hard or time consuming at the end. It went pretty smoothly for such a complicated task. What I needed at this point is items of all shapes to play with, and I wanted to make them as fast as possible. So I created some tools in Blender to automate the process, but I'll cover this in the next video, so don't forget to subscribe to get notified. Oh, by the way, why not to add an absolutely unnecessary feature by being able to highlight the items with normal and specular maps along some lighting? Yeah, sure, idiot. But then, what are these items for? I should be able to use them or equip them. So I made another equipment slot class, as the behavior compared to the inventory ones can be so different, and it would be so complicated to manage both at the same time. And yeah, another if-else check party. Am I equipping or unequipping? Can I equip this object in this slot? If I have to return it to the inventory, which grid was it in? Which slot? And what's under that slot so it fits again? Is it rotated or not? And the most difficult and tricky part. Two-handed objects comes with another check party of their own. Do I have both hands equipped? I should just grab one and send the other to the inventory, but at the same time duplicate this one in a fake item so it appears as two-handed. Is the object I'm grabbing to equip two-handed or one-handed? How does it relate to a double slot that is supposed to be the same but shouldn't duplicate its behavior? Beware of this, kids. Finally, got it working, cool. But these items were useless, not affecting the game at all. I had to integrate them into the world, so time to work on the character sheet and modifiers calculations. Not a piece of cake. Having all the signals and data connected all around the game was so challenging, and I had to completely refactor the data model. I made some consumable items that, on right click, should call for an attribute modification, then perform the calculation of that attribute and check its type. Is it an experience-based stat? Is it a status one like health or an attribute like strength? Does it have a base min and max value, so it has to be clamped? It's quite difficult to get your head around and understand all this data floating in the air and make it as modular as possible for further modifications. So on item use, it would actually perform some calculations on the character data dictionary, and then the HUD should listen to that signal and update accordingly. Then the character sheet should be updated and generated based on those calculations. So yeah, then when I'm more into the gameplay development, I would have all those stats done and calculated, ready to play with real stuff rather than hard-coded values or debug buttons. That was the main idea in this part of the process. Also, it happens in almost every game in which you have some stats calculated that you don't really know why, and I want to know why, so I added the functionality to show which objects are affecting each stat. This way, I don't have to figure it out by myself and check every equipped piece to know what stat I'm looking for. But I still don't understand the items, what to equip, and how it affects to the stats, so time to work on the tooltip, which is another small piece of software itself. I need to check if the slot of the item I'm hovering has something equipped or not, which type is it, and highlight equipable slots. Then check if it's a unique slot like an amulet for example, or two slots like rings, or even if it's a double slot like hands. Then to show the compared items depending on all that stuff, position them, check the other items modifiers, calculate the difference between them, and then to show all this data in the hovered object tooltip. I would say this looks simple and we take it for granted, like, hey, just show stats. But believe me, it's not simple at all. How you present all this information so it's easily understandable and readable. So there's a lot of UX work left here to do. So yeah, a 2-day test on a what if feature turned into 1 month of pure hard work, tinkering, bug fixing, and refactoring. But anyways, this task would have had to be done sooner or later. So I'm pretty happy with the results, and now I think I have sorted some of the most difficult tasks in this game development journey already. And now I will have some real case scenario tools and data to facilitate the gameplay design. And well, that wraps it up. Thanks for watching lads, see you in the next video, and don't forget to subscribe if you like the content. Cheers!